Welcome to episode 6 of the Take Game Gamescast. I'm your host, Scott Mills, the PC/Microsoft expert. I'm joined on my left by Brett Wolf, the PlayStation expert.
What's up, guys?
And on my right, I've got Eric King.
What's up, guys?
The Nintendo expert / a little bit of everything. And I think you'll notice we have our first guest appearance in our special guest chair today.
We're making it big.
We've got Jerod.
How's it going?
So, welcome, Jerod. Glad to have you.
Now, I'm wearing my Blue Jackets jersey since Jared's from Columbus.
Hey, what's all that crap you got on your arm?
Yeah, what's on my arm?
You're gonna mess you.
So, were you like playing in the sandbox?
Whoa,
Dude,
nice.
fuck.
Playing in the sandbox?
Yeah, we have a sandbox, like, in the fucking, like, outside, like, mixed with, like, snow and shit.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to start off today. We wanted to give a very special thank you to Colin Oliva for designing our logo. I don't know if you guys noticed on our YouTube video, we've got a logo now. So
Yeah,
definitely thank you very much for that.
Yeah, thanks,
That's awesome.
Colin. We appreciate it. Go
Great
check.
work.
He's on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Colin Oliva. So thanks again, Colin, for all the hard work you put into our logo, and he does a good job. So check his stuff out for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So today, I don't know if you guys saw, we posted a teaser video yesterday of some news broke about Bungie. Bungie split from Activision in a surprising move. So we're going to get into that. I guess I'm going to start off here with Brett. What are your thoughts on this Bungie splitting from Activision?
I guess I'm happy, but kind of with like a question mark, because now Bungie is supposed to be self-publishing now too. So it's kind of like, they've never done it before. They've always had Microsoft and then obviously Activision. So now they're gonna self-publish all their games. They're keeping the Destiny IP.
Yep.
So they agreed on that. And I read reports that all the Bungie employees were really excited about the break from Activision. I know a lot of gamers are too.
Yeah, I've heard positive things from the gamer community about this.
But I think people need to understand that this isn't the Bungie that we've all come to love that made the first, Halo games. Like, a lot of those people that have worked at Bungie have either, pretty much, they just went somewhere else and tried something else. Mm-hmm. So, besides, I think, a few executives at the top, it's brand new people. So, do I think Destiny 3, if that comes out, is going to be hurt by this? I could see it being hurt. I mean, they're going to be lacking the funding of Activision. And
one thing I did see though, like Battle.net, because they have Destiny 2 on there, and they're saying there's no plans to remove that from there for Destiny 2 yet. I guess they'll still continue to have that on Battle.net.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they're supposed to continue to support like Destiny 2,
since it was built
expansion and everything that came
under
out.
with Activision. I think that they'll still continue to support that. So,
do you think that Bungie will keep on developing for Destiny 2?
Yeah,
or do you see them actually even like releasing a Destiny 3? Because under the original Activision, contract, because Activision never owned Bungie. Bungie just went under a contract with Activision, and I think it was a decade-long plan that they were going to pump out these games. So do we even see a Destiny 3 come out, or do you think they're just going to keep on, keeping Destiny 2 as like a games as a service and keep pumping out expansions? Or
I certainly think they want to do Destiny 3.
Yeah, I think they'll probably go to Destiny 3.
Yeah,
I'm hoping that now that they're not under Activision, that it won't be so much of a cash grab as it was before, because...
Well, now, it was Bungie's idea to come out with Eververse. That was Bungie's idea.
Mm-hmm. Eververse, you mean as far as like
the
expansion after expansion?
No, the Eververse, the actual store. To buy like your cosmetic shit and
Well, I don't mind like cosmetic shit, so like expansions that they keep charging, $40 for every expansion for minimal content.
Well,
I mean, what's it like? 3 or 4 hours of content, it seems like. And then
Yeah.
pretty much done.
Now, Jerod, you were a big Destiny player. What's your
I got to wall it out for that.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly, I think that Destiny 3, if it does come out as a third, installment of the series, I think that with them breaking from Activision and then, being, I guess, hungry to do it on their own, like their excitement for that, I feel like that would actually be probably maybe the best one in the series, maybe. But I do think that the excitement at Bungie would probably help with that. And as far as like being a big Destiny player, the first one when it first came out, I was really into it. Playing with my friends, playing with you, playing with DeMarch. But yeah,
you had to give him a shout out, didn't you?
yeah. Shout out to March. Shout out my cousin Vinny.
Oh God.
But yeah, no, I had really high hopes before the first one came out. I liked the base game a lot, and then with the expansions, with all the expansions, besides I guess Forsaken, which was received pretty well for Destiny 2 anyway. I mean, obviously the Taken King and Rise of Iron also did fairly well for the first one.
They were reviewed very well by critics when it came out, and it's a very polished game.
Yeah, and I mean, I had all the expansions for the first one. I mean, Rise of Iron and the Taken King, like they did feel like they actually added content and things like that, and I guess that's what Forsaken was for 2. So yeah, I mean, like I'm happy that this is the route that's that they're taking. So yeah, I'm hopeful, but I mean, we'll see. As with anything, we'll see how it goes.
Do you guys see them doing any other games besides Destiny? They're not under Activision.
I think they would want to do a new IP of their own. I don't know when that would come. I wouldn't guess we would see anything until the next console generation, probably.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna last of them being self-publishing. I think they need to get on. It's very hard for these independent developers to, you never see them really develop and publish their games.
Well, they went through 2 of the biggest publishers right there. I don't know if any other company's even done that before. 2 publishers.
I just don't see them being independent for a long time, like they were trying to be. I could see them, look at like Rockstar. They don't publish their games. Take-Two does. So, it's like I just don't see it, them being independent for long. They're gonna. I mean, they can stay independent, but I just don't see them self-publishing themselves for a long time. I think they're gonna.
Well,
if they or Microsoft would have any interest in getting back together at all for another Halo game or something.
I doubt it. I think they're over the whole Halo thing. I mean, now that 343 is developing all the Halo games, I don't see that going.
I mean, they could do something like Activision does with Call of Duty, where they have one developer do one year.
People are already sick of Call of Duty. People are already sick of Halo. And, but anybody else have any thoughts on that?
no, I mean, I think we touched on everything with them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the Bungie. They are on their own now, so we'll see. Hopefully it works out for them. So originally this episode was for going over PlayStation and what we expect to see out of them in 2019 and going forward.
Yep.
I mean, definitely this last year was a big year for PlayStation. We saw a bunch of new exclusives. They had the Game of the Year and God of War come out. They had Spider-Man was a great game. I think I've said enough on that. But
Detroit Become Human was a success. A lot of people give David Cage a lot of flack, but I played that game, was really good. And what else came out? Was that it for their big exclusives?
Well, I know the 2 big hitters were God of War and then Spider-Man, but I feel like there's something we're forgetting, but
I guess we'll think of that.
We'll probably think of it later. But
well, let me drop some. So I did some research at work today.
Yeah.
So from PR Newswire reported that PS4 sales have surpassed 91.6 million sales. as of November 25th of 2018.
Any idea how many did PS2 do?
So I have the numbers for the top selling consoles. So the PlayStation 2 sold over 155 million consoles.
Well, the
And
thing
that-
about that too, though, is people bought that console as like a DVD player, even.
You're exactly right.
Yeah,
That
that's
even
really
bumped
when
that up.
consoles is.
And its competition was the original Xbox, which was new, and the Nintendo GameCube, which didn't sell that well.
Yeah.
So it really had no competition whatsoever. The next one is a handheld, which was the Nintendo DS, and that sold 154.02 million sales or consoles sold. Next was a Game Boy Color, Game Boy and the Game Boy Color that sold over 118 million consoles or handhelds. The next one was a PlayStation 1, and that sold over 102 million.
Sure, you got these right. I thought Wii was way up
Oh,
there.
Well, I'm getting to that. And then the next was the Nintendo Wii at 101.63 million consoles. So at this rate, we can see the PlayStation 4 surpassing both the Wii and the PlayStation 1 to become the second best selling
This year.
console.
You
I
think
can see
it'll happen
there-
this year.
I think we're going to pass 100 million this year, and I can see by the end of its lifespan. 'Cause, I mean, they were making the PlayStation 3 up until a couple of years ago. You gotta think about the third world countries too, or countries where the consoles were really expensive and they're going to drop in price. I think if PlayStation starts selling the PS4 at like, I don't know, between 150 and 200, they're going to get a boost of sales on that too.
Well, if they end up coming out with The Last of Us 2 before the end of the generation too, that's really going to bump up those sales.
So right now the PlayStation 4 is the fourth best selling console. Now this is from Wikipedia, so you can fact check me, but they have a bunch of sources with each of these numbers. So,
Wait, isn't that number 6 on the list?
well, console.
Is it?
Because a DS,
So you're not including the DS.
I'm not including the DS and the Game Boy and the Game Boy Color, which they combine into one thing. So,
Plus, handhelds are a lot cheaper too. So.
and they're more prevalent in like places like Japan, where there's a lot of like public transportation.
Yeah.
And
PlayStation has 3 out of the 4. And,
yeah, well, because
that's pretty
PlayStation,
successful.
yeah, people always say like Nintendo's like, you talk to like a mom, she's like, oh well, you know, what are you playing, Nintendo? It's kind of just like a common term now, like used, like thrown around. So, and PlayStation I think is right up there as a brand, and it's Sony's best division. I think it brings in more than their movies and their what else do they have? TVs and their music.
Was Xbox on that list?
They were. Xbox One, well, Microsoft doesn't report Xbox One sales. Sony didn't do that with the PlayStation 3, so they have no incentive really to.
Yeah.
But I can see it passing the PlayStation 1 to Wii. It's a giant, like, it's just mowing down the competition. So it's definitely outselling the Xbox One 2-1, at least.
Well, if we don't know the numbers, you can't officially say that. But
Well,
I think it's pretty, you know, all the
I
reports.
thought they were announcing it like early in the generation.
I don't know. I don't remember.
I think they were like the first year.
Yeah.
They must have just fell too far behind.
Yeah, they were like, wait a second.
We
Let's stop telling people how badly we're losing right now.
So that's the console sales.
PlayStation's winning now.
And then, according to VentureBeat, Spider-Man has passed 9 million copies sold as of November 25th of 2018, which doesn't include any Christmas sales, too. So I believe Uncharted was close to 10 million, but I'm not sure if it passed it. But in any way, like, Spider-Man is definitely going to pass Uncharted as the best-selling game of the, I guess, of PlayStation's history in terms of like an exclusive. Not talking about like FIFA, Call of Duty, you know, Madden, 2K.
I guess when you make a game for such a well-known character as Spider-Man, that's really going to bump sales, especially with the kids and stuff. So.
Yeah. So, you know, Insomniac hit it out of the park with that game, and, you know, for people like you, Scott, who never had a PlayStation 4, it made you want to go out there and buy a console. And I think that bundle that we all went Black Friday shopping for was sold out everywhere you can go. We saw people lining up to buy PlayStations. So
Yeah, seriously, we went on Black Friday. We went like pretty much right when all those stores opened up, and they were sold out.
Yeah, on Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, and they were all sold out already.
So that's that's crazy, and congratulations to Insomniac and Sony for making such a popular game, and people, it's a really good game. So, and then the last thing I have is Sony announced the acquisition of Audio Kinetic, which is the leading global provider of cross-platform audio solutions for the gaming and interactive media industries, which they're known for creating WWise, and so Sony now owns that, and WWise is in most of it's used a lot in like video games. If you notice, you boot up a game, and it might be like on the beginning when they show like the publisher and stuff. So it's not exclusive to PlayStation. It's still going to be used by other parties. It's just that Sony owns it. They're going to get a cut for every time a studio uses WWise.
Yeah.
So I think it's WWise. I'm not sure the actual pronunciation, but Wise. But that's big for Sony to keep on owning that, to get a cut of that. So that's all I have the past week of news for PlayStation. So, but I don't know, I think it's going to be a good year for PlayStation for 2019. They're still going to keep on chugging along, and we have games like Dreams, which is now entering its closed beta for people who they had their creative beta last month, so that game's going to get close to release. We have games like Days Gone, which is coming out in April. Are any of you guys hyped for Days Gone? Eric,
I wouldn't say I'm hyped. I might check it out. When does it come out? Like
April.
May or April?
April 20 something. I'm not sure the exact date.
Yeah, because I don't know. I might wait on the reviews, but I was thinking about checking it out. But the problem is, I'm so burnt out on zombie games at this point that it's just, I don't know. It's just the same thing over and over again. I mean, this does look a little bit, different, I guess, than the other zombie games I've played, but it's just too many zombie games for me, man.
Yeah.
Now, because the game was supposed to come out in February, and it got delayed.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Ben's studio made, Uncharted Golden Abyss, I believe.
For the Vita.
Yeah, I think so. Are you hyped about Days Gone, or?
I mean, I was initially, but like Eric said, there's just so many zombie games out there, and it's like, you just kind of get tired of them. I mean, the zombie genre, it's just way too oversaturated. I mean, it's just the same old thing over and over. And then with this, it looks like, the zombies are like, since you're like basically constantly like running away from a horde, it seems like at least from all the gameplay trailers, like it's just, I don't know, it just looks like it wouldn't be too fun. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I'll wait for the reviews. I mean, I was hyped at first, so I'm sure that hype could come back, depending.
Yeah.
But I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, if we see really big reviews and stuff, then I'm sure that you guys will probably.
Are you interested at all, or?
Have you even seen?
We'll see. I don't know much about Days Gone, so I haven't really even looked into it that much.
I remember when they revealed it at E3. That was two years ago.
Remember the E3 review?
When they revealed it, I was hyped for it then. When they had all those
it looked really cool.
I'm like,
that reveal was very good.
Because that was the end of their show, wasn't it?
They showed it twice.
Yeah.
During that conference.
Yeah, because it was intense. You got this huge horde coming after you.
Because I was hyped for it back when I was saying that, but I don't know.
Maybe
they took too long to put it out.
Just...
But I kind of lost my hype for it since then.
Okay. And then, what else? So we had Dreams, Days Gone. We're still waiting on. Does anybody think? We talked about this. I believe in our last Gamescast, in our most anticipated 2019 games, we touch upon The Last of Us Part 2.
That's a big one.
I talked about the whole Neil Druckmann photo of them still doing mocap. Do we think that game is coming out? Do you think Sony would release that game in the same time frame as Days Gone, as not to cannibalize Days Gone sales? Do we see them waiting until the fall of 2019, or is that game more of a 2020 last hurrah for the PlayStation 4.
Well, if it does come out, it's not going to be until fall. If it is this year, because obviously they're not going to want to have like two zombie. I don't know if I consider Last of Us really a zombie game. I mean, it is, but not really. But
It's
in
not
the
like
zombie
a survival.
category.
Yeah, it's not really that like survival, but it's more of an adventure story.
I don't think they would want to have it competing with Days Gone. And is anything else coming out? No.
So they showed 4 main games at E3 last year. They showed, well, Sekiro's multiplayer. They showed, they had the Dreams characters kind of like dancing around and shit. So besides Dreams, the big hitters, the big AAA games are Days Gone, Last of Us Part 2, Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, you were pretty excited about that.
Ghost of Tsushima, made by Sucker Punch, who made the Infamous games. And then they showed Death Stranding, made by Kojima Productions, and then Spider-Man.
So, Spider-Man.
They showed that at E3, but that was like the other thing they showed.
That's already it.
No,
but
So, yeah.
I mean, so none of those have release dates. Then I guess besides Days Gone has a release date, but obviously I don't think Last of Us would want to compete with Days Gone, and then who knows when those other games are going to come out.
Yeah, Death Stranding, like, it seemed like a very early, like the gameplay we got at E3 of that, it still seems very early on.
yeah, I wouldn't even call that really, like, yeah, like a gameplay, but there was like no, like, you know, like HUD or like, you know, UI. Like,
from what they've shown for it, I don't even see it coming out in like 2020, to be honest. But
I could see that game being a cross-gen game.
Yeah.
People will be playing on PS4 and the PS5. I think it is coming out next year on the PlayStation 4.
I don't think it'll be this year.
I don't think it'll be this year either. What do you think, Jerod?
What about
What about any of these games that we're talking about? Like, do you see The Last of Us Part 2, Ghost of Tsushima, Death Stranding, Dreams? I think we're pretty confident it's coming out this year. But those are 3 games left on the PlayStation, you know, platform.
Well, I think I definitely think that The Last of Us Part 2 will be later this year. I mean, The Last of Us, the first one, came out late in the PS3 cycle, and I feel like they might do exactly what they did with the first one, where like, hey, you can get it for PS4, and then
they
eventually you'll be able to get it for PS5 as well. You know, it's like
because The Last of Us Part 1 came out in 2013, if I'm not mistaken, right?
So
In June.
I think.
It was very late in the generation.
So like, I
It
think
was
that came,
definitely the swan song.
yeah, I think that came out in June, and then the PlayStation 4 came out in November of 2013. If I'm not mistaken about that.
I mean, I think we could all kind of agree that, well, maybe not, but PS5 I think is probably going to be late next year.
So let's transition into our PlayStation 5 talk. So we know Sony's working on a new console. That's pretty much been confirmed by John Codera, who is a Sony SIE CEO. So when do we see the latest news about, or the first announcement of the PlayStation 5? If that is what it's called. We're assuming it's to be called PlayStation 5. So...
And I don't know what's going to happen this year, because Sony's not going to be at E3 this year, right? They pulled out.
No, they're not.
So, I mean, when, like, that would be the time to do it, I would have thought.
When do they
if you were
normally
gonna announce it?
Yeah, when do they normally do the like their big own press conference? Sony, because they have their own.
I think they did it in spring of 2013, and then they did kind of like I think it was like their announcement, and then I think they did a reveal.
Well, I mean, they have like their own press conference thing they do. Like, do they do that every
Well,
year?
PSX is in December.
PSX, that's what I'm talking
Well, that's in
about.
December.
Yeah. Did they do that last year?
They did not do a PSX last
Was
year.
that like the first year they didn't do it?
Since it came out like in 2015 or 2016.
Yeah.
That was like the first
Okay,
year they
so,
did it.
So it hasn't been around that long.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, if they do announce it this year,
That'd probably
I don't
be
think they're
the
gonna
best
announce it this year.
opportunity. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I see it getting
surprised
announced
if it was
probably
this year.
first 3 months next year, probably March next year would be my guess. But
What do you think?
I think probably next year. Yeah. I don't know.
Did they do an announcement?
I mean, they haven't done like a, I don't know. Well, maybe not. Maybe late this year. Maybe late this year. Just started. I mean, they haven't.
Have they ever announced like a console late in the year though? That's the thing about it.
I'm not sure about the PlayStation or the PlayStation 2 or 3.
I feel like they usually do it early in the year, and I don't think it's going to happen this year. If it is early in the year, but yeah, if they were going to do it this year, it would probably be late. But I see it coming early next year though.
Late this year, early next year, I would say.
I agree with you. I agree with you, Jerod. I think we're not going to see. I think PlayStation will do an event this spring, but it will not be a PlayStation 5 reveal. I think it might maybe like a little tease of next gen. They might even talk about next gen, but I think we're gonna get an event in the springtime, giving us some hard release dates. I really do. I think it's without having an E3. Some people were saying that they might even do an event during E3.
Yeah.
I just don't see that happening.
Like their own separate event.
Well, I think the fact that they're not at E3 kind of points to the signs that they're going to be announcing it, sometime. In the near
I could
future.
see them doing an announcement at PSX, which is in December. So I could see them doing that. I don't think the console's coming out before 2020. I think they'll do reveal the console next year. That's in the springtime or at E3 next year. Because I think they're going to be at E3 next year.
Yeah, you can definitely tell it's nearing though, because E3 even this year, well, last year I should say, I think E3 was even kind of weak last year. To be honest, I mean, it was just kind of trailers and stuff we already knew about.
It was cringy as fuck. It was so cringy, dude. Like, remember when they had like Sid, like fucking just sitting up there and fucking like. Okay, well, we are Sean Layton at the table while they move some stuff around. And,
You could tell they didn't have, like, a lot of games ready to, to show, but I think they kind of are starting to lean towards pushing stuff towards next gen.
Yeah.
Because it's coming.
And, well, we know that Microsoft pretty much paid all those publishers to show their games at E3. Because they don't have anything. So they paid, for Cyberpunk 2077 from CD Projekt Red, Just Cause, paid Avalanche Studios, and paid all these different companies to show their games at Microsoft's E3, and Sony only showed 4 games. They didn't even show Days Gone, So I guess we'll have to see. Sony's definitely ahead, and I think they're smart just to let everything start trickling down into the next generation, and that's what I think they need to do.
Yeah.
I think that they need backwards compatibility for PlayStation 5 for sure, right?
I think they should. I mean, geez.
So all games immediately are available from PlayStation 4.
Right.
For sure.
And I think scaled back, like have it be able to be played on PlayStation 4, and then also be able to be played on a PlayStation 5. But maybe tone down a little bit to hit the PlayStation 4, specs. So I think that would be smart. I think Sony will be foolish not to have backwards compatibility.
Yeah, for this long?
Yeah,
for sure.
Do we have any predictions?
Oh, Rocky. Rocky's got predictions.
Well, Eric said he's not going to bark. He's not going to bark, and then sure enough, he's barking. And I bet you in 5 minutes.
What do you gotta say? What do you gotta say?
He's got some insider knowledge we don't know about.
I think so.
He just can't tell us what he really wants to.
No, he's just fucking annoying.
Wow, that was very enlightening, Rocky.
Thanks. Cringing. We'll put him on a fucking cringe compilation. Jesus Christ. So, but yeah, I think, Sony definitely needs to. Oh, Jesus Christ. Don't play with him.
As you throw it, more excited from something being thrown.
But I guess let me see. I think that's really it that I have for
PlayStation.
Well, I mean, I just don't see we're gonna get the MLB The Show. Do we have predictions for any launch games? Do we see Guerrilla Games releasing Horizon Zero Dawn 2?
I mean, have they even said anything about Horizon Zero Dawn?
No, but they're working on it though.
I would think after the success of the first one that there would be a second one. I mean, that's the nature of business is or something super successful to make a sequel. Yeah.
Do we know anything about the game that Kojima's making? Do we know what type of game that even is?
What, the Death Stranding?
Yeah. Is it like an RPG?
I don't know. I'm really not even that excited about it, but like
I'm
it
excited.
just looks so weird.
Why are you excited about it?
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's because Kojima, and I'm a huge Metal Gear fan. Like, just
Okay.
So yeah,
at face value, like, I'm just like, oh, Kojima, okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know that makes me sound
Well,
like a fanboy.
that's how a lot of people are with him. I haven't actually played any of his games though. So.
I haven't either. I haven't played one Metal Gear Solid game.
I haven't either.
So Jared, you can. What's kind of like Kojima's like style? Is it more like stealth focused, right?
Well, yeah, for the most part. I mean, there's also a lot of like, you know, it's a third-person shooter. Like, there's a lot of like, you know, shooting elements, especially in like the fifth one, Phantom Pain. It was, but like if you wanted to, you didn't have to play stealthy at all. You know what I mean? Like you didn't have to. You know, like the whole thing about that was like freedom of choice of like how to do whatever you wanted to do. Now the open world was huge and empty for the most part, but like you could approach a base that you needed to, you know, infiltrate however you wanted to. You can go in and shoot everybody or try to sneak in, it's whatever. But for the most part, yeah, like third-person shooters are like the games that he's, you know, mainly been a part of. So it's like I would imagine that Death Stranding would be a third-person shooter for the you know, the majority of the gameplay, but honestly, I'm not sure because they haven't shown anything like that.
Yeah.
So it's like you see, I guess his name's Sam, the main character, or something like that.
Norman Reedus, right?
Norman Reedus.
Yeah.
You see Norman Reedus. His name is Norman Reedus. It's yeah. I mean, you see him walking around like with like, you know, people packages. Like it's like I don't think anybody really knows besides the people making it what the hell this game is about. Like it's definitely out there. I mean, that's intriguing in and of itself. But yeah, I mean, I'd say that's what's got me hyped about it. I mean, I'm sure the story's going to be interesting. Gameplay might be something a little bit different than what we're used to, maybe. But
So we're talking about, you know, games coming out later in the PlayStation 4 and possibly appearing in the PlayStation 5. Eric, when you're fucking around with Rocky, we're talking about like launch titles for the PlayStation 5. I mentioned, I think it's likely we'll see Horizon Zero Dawn in the first year or two, if not a launch title, for the PlayStation 5, which I think will be smart by Sony, because Sony started off the PS4 generation with Knack and Killzone Shadowfall.
Well,
which
that's what I
was
was going to say. I think that this gen, I think they're trying to prepare themselves more, judging by how we were going game after game after game the last couple of years, and now it seems like we're going to kind of get a gap here, maybe. So I'm thinking maybe they're preparing for like a good launch with the PS5, because yeah, like you said, last gen they really had nothing to start with. So I could see maybe Horizon 2, whatever they're gonna call it. I could see maybe that being a launch title. I don't know about third party. I mean, Elder Scrolls obviously isn't gonna be ready for launch of the next gen.
Oh hell no!
Cyberpunk maybe could get pushed back to next gen, maybe.
I think that's a next gen game.
Yeah. So that might be maybe a launch title. But first party wise, yeah, I think Horizon 2 would make sense. I know God of War is probably in development, but that's not going to be a launch title. I don't think that they're not doing like any more Uncharted, are they?
No, I think
they were planning on it.
I think Naughty Dog is done with the Last of Us franchise, at least for a while after the, part 2. So who knows what they're going to be working on?
Yeah.
I don't see them revisiting Uncharted anytime soon.
Right.
Yeah, so you're thinking a new IP again?
I'm thinking a new IP, yeah, and then after that IP is, you know, done, then they can maybe go back to Uncharted or just give it some time to breathe. And on a good note, on Uncharted 4. So
I mean, what's the other big developers they have Sony wise that haven't released a game recently? I mean,
I think they.
That studio that you love that makes Bloodborne, you think Bloodborne 3 launched?
Well, I do. Bloodborne 3, you're already jumping on.
Yeah,
we haven't gotten Bloodborne 2
They go 1 through 5.
Well, I wanted to talk about From Software too. I'm glad you brought that up. No, we have not even gotten Bloodborne.
I mean, do you have some insider?
Yeah, see, like, I mean, we're gonna take Bloodborne.
Last week I was talking about the PS5 that was already out.
So, From Software, God, I forget his first name, but Miyazaki, the president, thank you, he talked about that they have two unannounced games in development, and he actually had an interview where he actually apologized to fans about all the Easter eggs of Bloodborne and Deracine, the VR game that came out in December of the past year, because a lot of fans were like, wow, could this be, you know, kind of like an Easter egg for Bloodborne 2? And he, you know, quickly was like, you know, no, that was just for fun, like, you know, kind of trying to like bring out the hype. But of course, he says that after the game's out for a couple of weeks, because you know they probably did that on purpose, saying, well, this is in here, so you should play Deracine. I think it would be foolish to think that they aren't working on Bloodborne. I think they are working on Bloodborne too. I think
surprised if Dark Souls 4.
Well, that's Bandai. That's Bandai Namco, who owns Dark Souls. They own, they own the IP of Dark Souls.
Okay.
And Bloodborne is owned. The IP is owned by Sony, so it'll only ever come to the PlayStation.
Yeah.
So,
but I'm just saying that From Software is working on, like, what game are they working on?
Yeah. Well, I think, you know, Miyazaki talked about being done with Dark Souls.
Okay.
You know, he's working on, you know, Sekiro, which is coming out March 22nd, which is multiplat. And, you know, I think it has to be either Bloodborne 2 or Demon Souls 2. Now, Demon Souls, Jerry might have to help me here.
That was out a long time ago, though. You think they're going to go back to that rather than
Who
going
would
to Bloodborne
publish Demon Souls?
Well, here's the tricky part, is that Atlas owns the publishing rights in North America. And Sony owns the publishing rights, I believe, in Asia. I'm not sure about Europe, but it's really weird to see, like, who owns, you know, that IP. I think on Wikipedia they attribute it to Sony, but I know Atlas published it in North America. I think Bloodborne 2 is more likely than Demon Souls 2. I think Demon Souls could be remade by Blue Point Games. I think that would be awesome.
That would make sense.
That would be very nice, because I played only through the first boss of Demon Souls, and it's just so, like, it's the same as Dark Souls, because obviously it's a, you know, predecessor of Dark Souls, but you actually have like a HUD area, which I had no idea, you know, that was even in the game until I played it.
Nexus.
Yeah, the Nexus, right. And Jerod, you're a huge Soulsborne fan, so I guess, you know, do you think we're gonna see a Bloodborne 2? Or
Bloodborne 2?
or a Demon Souls
Or
2,
Bloodborne 3.
a Demon Souls.
I don't know.
I mean, Eric's from the future, because he already played the PlayStation 5. He's really ready for Bloodborne 3.
Future.
Yeah, so Eric from the future is giving us some updated some knowledge here.
So
But
do I think there's going to be a Bloodborne 2? Is that what you're asking?
yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I would like to think so, and I think that they will. Because, you know, it did so well, and like just that name has a lot of weight to it. You know, I don't know.
It's still really good too. It's
Well,
still
yeah,
really
yeah, definitely. I don't know if it would be like.
I mean, I bought it on release date,
and then you.
I bought it twice.
Then you end up buying it again. And
I bought it twice too.
I only bought it once. I actually feel like I should buy it again just because of that. But no, I mean, yeah, I used to kick around the idea that maybe it'd be a launch title for the PS5, because I feel like it would, you know, sell units, because, you know, the name has so much weight to it. But since there hasn't been, besides like the, you know, Easter eggs and Deracine, like I don't know, I don't think it would be a launch title. It'll probably be something coming out, you know, later. But yeah, I think that there will be. At least I hope there will be.
Yeah. We got the platinum trophies in that game. So
How long did it take?
Congratulations.
it took us like, so I bought it when it came out.
Yeah, that
I
was
was at my
right.
apartment in Columbus. Represent, cringy. And we had like a Twitch like drunk stream.
Oh.
Like we thought it would be so cool. I had this video on Twitch, so we were like drinking some like
On
fucking
release day, like,
yeah. It was so embarrassing. Like 2 people watch our video, and
we had like 1 beer apiece. Like,
Yeah.
we probably shared a beer. We like poured it in
dude,
a little sippy cup.
I think I was in like a wife
Oh,
beater. Like you were in a
Right.
wife. Oh god, dude.
We were like, oh, you know, 2 drunk friends playing Bloodborne. We weren't even drunk. Dude, that's like, dude,
Oh,
that's
God.
like, you ever have those moments where you like think back and you're like, why did I do that?
But it was a great idea when I thought of it.
No, but I'm glad that, you know, that we played that game, because like, you know, I didn't, I didn't sell mine like you did.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I sold my. I traded mine in.
Father G. I sucked it up and I did the damn thing, and then I, fell into a hole that I couldn't get out of, and I didn't want to get out of it.
So then I bought it again. It was like $8, and then me and you played through the whole game like co-op. And Eric thinks that's like a cheap way of getting a platinum. But dude, we spent like 4 straight months of we were playing Destiny 2 as well. Playing that game and got the platinum and we got all the DLC 100%. So
That's awesome.
I don't think it's necessarily a cheap way to get the platinum. I just thought it was a cheap way to get
No, it was for him because I actually beat I was on New Game
you saw
Plus.
me beat Vicar Amelia.
I was on New Game Plus. When we were
I just
working
thought
on
it was a
this
cheap way to get
playthrough,
past
so-
Father G because that's where I got stuck too. I beat the
you
cleric
didn't have
beast,
anybody to
and I
come
couldn't get
help
past
you.
fucking Father G. I tried so many
Guess
times.
Yeah, he's definitely intimidating, especially if you don't find the cleric beast first. All the bosses, are intimidating, but he's we ran. We're like, what do we do? You know what I mean? You can't even get. It's like you can't even get a word in edgewise with him. You know what I mean? He's just hacking and slashing the whole time. And you're getting stuck on gravestones and trees and shit. And it's how the hell do you is this supposed to be beat? What is this?
I'm
You know
just
what I mean?
picturing him fucking dragging that
it's
axe across the ground,
just
knocking my
jeez.
ass out.
That's what's
every
so
fucking
awesome
time.
about this game.
If you would play the DLC, you would have faced the Orphan of Kos.
Oh, jeez.
And the Orphan of Kos is fucking has a placenta hanging by him, and he's fucking whipping this thing at you and shit. Dude, that was so intense, dude.
Yeah.
That's
placenta.
yeah,
so
dude. That was the hardest boss I've ever faced. It took us maybe a couple days to beat that.
Yeah, because we just got frustrated. We're we'll just take a break.
Well, Jerod. Well, I think Jerod was way too aggressive because he would always die in the beginning, and then I would have to fucking face this thing.
Vegetarian over there.
Every
Jared.
time, man.
Well,
every time.
and then
Hey, you gotta
PvP
win somehow.
And then PvP, I beat him once, and he
Yeah,
pretended.
you notice I said I beat him once.
Yeah.
Keyword.
But Bloodborne was fantastic, and Scott, have you played some Dark Souls?
Yeah, I've played some of all 3, 1, 2, and 3 of Dark Souls. Never got that far in them because they're pretty hard. But yeah, I really enjoyed what I played of them. And I think what makes those games great are the intense boss fights, like you guys said. They're actually intimidating to go up against. Oh man, I gotta go up against this. And it's such a feels good moment when you actually accomplish it and you beat it. And
Yeah, it's definitely
oh
satisfying.
man, I just beat that guy. He
Wish
was
I knew
so
that feeling.
insane.
Well, yeah. Well, you
Try.
Hey, you beat some Valkyries on your last God of War.
Yeah,
well, that was very
yeah.
satisfying when I beat that one up on top of Muspelheim because that thing was tough. But
Yeah.
rest of them were easy though so far.
So now, would you, Scott, be interested in, I guess either Bloodborne 1 or a sequel to Bloodborne 2? Would you pick
I
that
would
up?
definitely like to try out Bloodborne.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the...
Yeah, you gotta check it out because even I love the game. The problem was I just couldn't get past that.
Yeah.
It's the second boss for me.
No,
I mean,
here's the thing though. I got you past Gascoigne and fucking.
yeah, but that was fucking 2 years after I played it. I was haven't gotten around to getting back onto it.
But that's where he messed up, man. He's got to do it on his own.
Yeah, but he won't.
We can help him, but it's got to be him.
Yeah.
In the driver's seat, and then he'll know how it feels. Don't, you know what I mean? Don't. That's why. Just give it another shot one of these days.
Yeah.
I do. I need to try it again sometime.
Well, when I buy Sekiro, you can try that out.
I mean, I was even loving Dark Souls too, and then
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's the same thing that I've run
Oh,
into too.
man.
until we ran into that one issue. Where
Andre, dude, he is.
Let's talk
he
about
is-
that.
Oh, he is definitely OP.
So Eric, Jerod, and I all bought Dark Souls Remastered back in May, and we were all going to go play through the game on each other's games, do all co-op, get everything, whatever. And then we got past a couple of bosses, and then Eric ran into an issue where he
testing out my new weapon.
he was testing out his new weapon by Andre the blacksmith, and he hit him. And you can kill any NPC in the game. So when he hit Andre got a little pissed. And Andre started beating the fuck out of Eric. And every time Eric spawned, the NPC was still aggroed. So there's no way for Eric to get past him unless one, he killed him, or 2, he got one of those.
Some ridiculous amount.
What's it called?
I forget what it was
You
called.
did get a certain amount of souls. Was it like
It's like
It was like 30,000.
30,000. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no
what was it
problem.
called, dude?
Just keep
Son
grinding.
of Absolution or something like that.
Dude, you're failing me, dude. You're a soul.
Dude, I can't remember, dude. I don't know what I'm thinking here.
I just remember it was 30,000 souls. I'm like, yep, that's not
Yeah, 'cause
happening.
it went. Well, it actually went up per level. Like every level was like a certain amount. So I think you actually have to pay more than 30,000. I don't know. I can't remember, but yeah, like I was. Yeah, I think I did. Didn't I do that for you? Didn't you do something that I had to like?
No,
you,
I was
you
cursed.
almost put the.
I was cursed.
Yeah.
I was cursed in Blighttown.
And you were
And-
just like, I don't even want to do it. Dude.
So you had to fucking like you took my PlayStation profile and you fucking just did it for me to get me on curse.
With his consent, he consented.
Yeah,
to it.
I consented it. It wasn't like
I didn't.
profile rape.
Yeah, there was. They're definitely. Yeah, they're.
Dude,
Wow.
Scott's calling now, dude.
They're
Scott!
definitely didn't hijack his account because I think that's a better word. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, I did that, and I had a good time doing it, and then because I wanted to play it. I offered to do it for Eric as well, but that didn't work
Eric's
out.
like,
I think by that point he had already sold it back.
By that time, Eric's already still in
Yeah, the
PUBG
disc was
mode.
in
He already
half
sold
already.
it. He was playing Overwatch.
Yeah,
This was already destroyed.
yeah.
He was just like, and then, I'm done.
There you go, dude. Do it over.
Jesus. But I think we'll have to see what From Software does with Bloodborne 2. So hopefully we see it. So cool. But yeah.
Very big detour.
Yeah, we got a lot to look forward to. I think that you guys have anything else? I think we can wrap it up. I'm glad you guys could tune in to our PlayStation episode. Thank you, Jerod, for
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming,
in and,
Jerod.
being our special guest.
Good.
We'll have to have you come back another time. And
Sure.
Yeah, definitely enjoyed your insight on.
do you like my Jackets sweater represent Columbus or?
Oh yeah. I'm a huge hockey fan.
How's Jackets doing this year?
Dude, they're like
doing good.
I think they're in 3rd place in the Metro. So
Yeah, 3rd place.
yeah.
I got Cam Atkinson on my fantasy team.
Sports
so.
ball.
You always like
Sports
I'm in
Sports
fantasy
ball,
hockey
sports
league,
puck,
so-
score. I don't know.
pass the goal.
Stick ball. I don't even know.
Touchdown.
Yeah, like when Wayne Gretzky made that touchdown, I was for the Jackets. Like I was like, that's incredible.
Dude,
Yeah.
stop. God damn it, dude. Dude, I don't
It's
know.
funny because
I don't know what you're
obviously
saying
being
here.
stupid. Anyway, yeah.
Alright.
Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Again, if you guys enjoy watching our stuff, like us, subscribe to our channel. Again, thank you to Colin Oliva again for the new logo and everything. That was cool.
What are we gonna do for episode 7?
Yeah, so our next episode, we're gonna continue. We've done Xbox, we've done PlayStation. So
What's
what's
left?
next?
What's
Oh
left?
yeah, that one that starts with an N. The one that you're the expert of, Eric. The Nintendo.
My show. Alright.
All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.